Everyone, Kim here, Abundant Life Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me. We're doing a mystery mystic reading. And I don't know if some of you have heard of this one yet, but before we even get into it, I have to give a fair warning. Viewer discretion is advised. We're talking about a girl, a young lady who was 15 at the time of her death. And she was found dismembered in a vehicle that's owned by a 20-year-old up-and-coming performer by the name of David Burke. So Celeste Rivas Hernandez was 15 at the time of her death, and the vehicle that she was in, a Tesla, had been abandoned, basically, and had been moving around like in this Hollywood Hills neighborhood for about a month, like at the beginning of August, and then it was finally impounded. And then at that point when it was discovered that a body had been decomposing in the vehicle. What's even more awful is to come to find out that Celeste's mom had reported her missing over a year prior to her being found deceased. She had been reported missing, and her mom had indicated that she was dating a boy named David prior to her running away. Apparently, Celeste had run away a couple of times. She was young, like 13 years old at the time of when she was reported missing. So, you know, it seems like she may have been dealing with David for a while, allegedly. The other thing is that her mom identified her daughter by a little tattoo she had, a shush tattoo on her middle finger, which apparently David also has the same tattoo, allegedly. So you're probably wondering, why are we doing a reading? It sounds like it's slam dunk, but it's not really, because police haven't officially named him. The vehicle is registered to him. He was dating her, but we want to understand what happened to her and why. Like, why did this happen? Why did this have to happen? And if there's any clues on who is responsible. And everything that we're speaking on in this video is all alleged, all my intuitive interpretations of the cards. And, everyone is presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. All right. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and get into it. I'm going to shuffle these cards. I've shuffled them really good. Look, time. Somebody running out of time. Time being of essence. Heart. Oh, yeah. She's so beautiful, Celeste. Oh, my goodness. This is tragic. Pentagram. Okay. Bone. Oh, my gosh. Rat. Now, I have been following the story as soon as it had broke, right? But I wanted to give this young man the benefit of the doubt. Like, maybe someone who he let borrow the vehicle is responsible, or maybe he was set up, or, someone else could be responsible. That's what we all probably were initially thinking. But now with all this coming about, and he was on a world tour, which he had to go ahead and cancel, okay, as of today. He was, police allowed him to do that, to go continue with his tour, and he wasn't named a person of interest, just the person that owns the vehicle. We have snake, and we need one more. Water. Okay. Such a beautiful young lady. So tragic. I just can't get over how tragic this is. Okay, So we have here time. Time was of the essence here. I feel like someone felt like they were running out of time. Like they did something, and they did something to her, and they had to hurry up and put her in a temporary spot, which happened to be the vehicle, and then thought that we'd have time to come back and do what they needed to do to finish discarding of her. But time was always an issue. Okay. That's what I'm getting here with the time card. Sorry, I'm looking at the little... So the key meanings to this card is pressure, deadlines, life passing by, or aging. So that's what I'm saying. Like someone felt under pressure. So putting her in the car was a last minute thing. Maybe they had a flight to catch, allegedly, or maybe someone was coming and they had no choice but to put her there. And so thus became this situation of trying to cover tracks, moving the vehicle, having someone move the vehicle, which is interesting, right? Because from what it sounds like, and I could be wrong, but the vehicle had been moving about the neighborhood while he's on tour. So who's moving the vehicle? The thing about Teslas is that they have all these cameras in and around and on it. And so I would imagine that it's just a matter of time that we find out a lot more information. I mean, there's no question that this case will be solved, I would think. It's just a matter of how will justice be dished out, and what's the motive and why and what's going on, and see how it talks with the cards. Sometimes these fast-moving cases are interesting to see how the cards are picking up on the energies, the present, the past, and the future energies. Okay. You know, this is an educational and for entertainment purposes situation with these readings. Now, number 11, heart. Strong emotions, affection, love, and compassion. So this doesn't look good in terms of someone close to her, someone who was affectionate towards her, or she affectionate towards this person that took her life. It could be an actual physical heart, like the organ, and it's something, being stabbed in the heart, or something going on with the heart, or maybe the heart shutting down, or consuming something that causes the heart to shut down. Something about the actual organ as well. Not just that this is a card to symbolize affection and compassion and love and strong emotions. Yes, it means that too, but it also is referring to the physical anatomical heart, probably within her. Okay. Flower, like a thing of beauty. Beauty, kindness, gifts, blossoming abilities, or potential. So this card, if we just look at the two people that are the main focus of what has happened to Celeste, which would be Celeste herself, and then the register owner of the vehicle, David. He has growing potential. His career is blossoming like a flower. Also, this card is referring to her being in his mind, or in the mind of the perp, the alleged perp. A thing of beauty, an object of beauty. Maybe the relationship was initially kind and affectionate. Now we move on to pentagram. The sum of a lifetime of choices, material gain, or humanity. Someone had definitely lost their humanity, perhaps due to desires for material gain. Material gain, the sum of a lifetime of choices, and this thing of beauty was somehow needing to be sacrificed. Here's the thing about flowers, cut flowers. You cut them and they only have so much use, and then they die, and then you have to discard of them. Like usefulness was gone. It's interesting. Thank you, Spirit. Okay, so now we have the bone card, which is really ominous in this particular case because we know that she was found dismembered. I'm so sorry to her family. I'm so sorry to her sweet child, because no matter what, she was a child when she went missing, or when she, was reported missing, to her death. Child. The bone card's keywords are mortality, leaving something behind, having something to hide, strong foundations. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. So, mortality, someone feeling like they were running out of time, leaving something behind, having to leave her behind, her remains, her torso behind. Remember, viewer discretion is advised with this reading. That's because this person was running out of time. Perhaps maybe David was coming back if it wasn't him that did this. And so the perp had to, put her quickly in they call it a frunk, not a trunk, but the front, like holding space, holding area in the Tesla. So not a trunk area, but a frunk. So that's where she was located. This also says having something to hide. Someone had something to hide and was running out of time. Something pressing was coming about. That's interesting. What could be if a time element, a gestational situation? I don't know. We'll keep going. We have the rat card. The key phrase is a traitor or untrustworthy person or a disease. This card is another one where it can have dual meanings. It can mean a disease, like a growing problem, a growing diseased situation. It could also mean, and I think it means both this disease meaning and a traitor or untrustworthy person who was breaking someone's heart. As the rat sits underneath the heart card, sits next to the snake card, 3536. Fear, sexual fantasies, temptation. That's the key meanings to the snake card. And then we have water. The snake incites fear. Sexual fantasies were explored, temptations were indulged as it relates to this flower. Making for a highly emotionally volatile situation with the water card. When you have it sitting next to the snake card. And when you think about it, these young people, like, she had no parental guidance, right? From what we can gather, she had been reported missing. She was gone for over a year, according to her mom. So she didn't have parental guidance. So she's a child with this young person. Because, I mean, I guess he would have been maybe, 18 maybe when they got together? I don't know. 17, 16, I don't know. But nevertheless, yeah, that's what I'm picking up on here. Whereas someone was more focused on, having to make financial sacrifices or sacrifices in general to get ahead for material gain. Someone was quite emotionally attached as well, or in contrast to that. The key meanings to the water card is purity, change, life, subconscious thoughts or mysterious feelings, purity, someone taking her, betraying her, ultimate betrayal with this rat, a snake card, sitting next to the bone card and under the heart. She was too young to know she was being used. All right, I'm going to pause here so we can grab another deck. Okay, so let's get into the Divine Shadow Self Oracle. We seem to get some indications about someone feeling under immense time pressure, someone close to her. We have defiance. Okay, someone feeling like maybe she's defiant or someone being defiant towards her. We have aggression. Let's see. Fearful. Callous. Abandonment issues. Boredom. Wow. Oof, mixed bag of different things going on here. So, bearing in mind that we're dealing with someone young, she's super young and he's young himself. He's 20 years old, I believe. So we have here defiance, aggression, fearful, callous, abandonment issues, and boredom. Defiance, someone accusing her of being defiant, not falling into place. Someone being very callous and cold towards her. It could be that this person who did this to her wrongly perceived them, or maybe rightly perceived that she was being defiant and callous towards them. They're very defiant. Defiant is an interesting word because it can indicate that you, like if you were a parent and child, a child being defiant. So this energy of someone being in charge and someone being defiant, that energy I'm picking up on. Okay. Aggression, facing this defiance, and then causing and inciting fear. This comes up with the snake card. One of the very first keyword for snake is fear. Aggression and then causing fear. Maybe fear tactics were no longer working. Maybe. And then abandonment issues. Now, at first I looked at it and I thought, well, maybe this is about her. Like maybe she, was fearful of being abandoned. I'm sure that is the case. But this could also represent the perp. The perp having significant abandonment issues. Could be. We'll see how this card plays out because I could see it both ways. I could see how it could be her. She was fearful of losing someone and perhaps doing things and saying things that put this person on the defensive and aggression, like coming across as like maybe she might reveal something. So it could be something like that. Or it could be that someone is having abandonment issues because they feared that she was leaving or had left. It could be something like that. I'm not sure. When I'm not sure, I share that with you all. When I'm sure, I share that with you as well. Then we have boredom. I don't know how to take this. I don't know if maybe she was experiencing a lot of boredom prior to her death, maybe complaining a lot about it. Also could be that the perp, was bored and had no longer use for Celeste. Could be that. And I say that because when I shared with you all what I was picking up on with this flower card, you know, this cut flower, you only have so much use. It's only beautiful for so long. It's only, you know, it's very fleeting, and then it's of no use anymore. Then it's discarded. Interesting read. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, so now we're going to work with this deck. What can Spirit share from this deck here about what happened, who's responsible? This crime may be solved by DNA testing or other scientific methods. So DNA on her, or, you know, other key evidence, or on the vehicle. Rage or extreme anger was a motive. Okay. So we see that here with this aggression. The rat card, also snake, and I sense even with that bone card, callous as well. Rage or extreme anger was a motive. And I said earlier with that pentagram, someone lost their humanity. Because one of the key words to this card is humanity. Surveillance cameras may provide important clues. Isn't that a trip? We talked about the Tesla vehicle. And also surveillance, it could be at the residence or in other public areas. But surveillance cameras will be also what cracks this case, as well as DNA evidence. It's not just enough that she's in his vehicle, right? Because what if he has a solid alibi? What if, you know, they got to first determine cause of death. Then they have to determine who caused that death. Then they have to determine, you know, the evidence that can support that. It's a stair step. It's not going to just be like, oh, automatic, he gets arrested. I was seeing some comments that, oh, he should be arrested. It's not that simple. You know, they can't just arrest him. Yeah, it's his car, but we know how, I used to be a claims adjuster, and people borrow cars all the time and cause all kinds of crazy accidents in somebody else's car. The thing is, the car was never reported stolen. He never reported the Tesla stolen. But that doesn't mean that he didn't lend the vehicle out or etc. Doesn't mean that maybe she had started another connection or a relationship with someone else. I don't think so, but that's why I'm saying there could be a lot of reasonable doubt right off the bat. So it's not just a slam dunk case. I eventually feel like it will be, but right at this point, no. So then the next card we have here is additional evidence at the scene may be discovered. Okay, what scene? That remains to be seen. So I'm gonna pause here. I'm gonna take a picture or two of these cards, and we're gonna keep going until my intuition says we've pulled enough cards. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, so now we're gonna work with my Secrets Revealed True Crime Oracle. I'm gonna work with this one. I'm not sure if I'm going to do a tarot reading at this point. We're just doing a detailed oracle reading. We have set up or staged. Okay. He also has written some songs. Okay. One of them I think is called Romantic Homicide. I think that's one of them. And then I guess just recently they found a song. Now this is rumor. I've heard of the Romantic Homicide song. But the one that's titled Celeste, the same name as our beautiful Celeste, who's no longer with us, that song has some creepy lyrics that I've seen online. So check it out. If you know more about the songs and the connection there, I would be interested to hear from you in the comments section. I'm also interested to hear what you all think about all of what's going on with this case. So the next card we have is local. First one we have was set up or staged. Oh, alibi. That's interesting. Accident. Rule or country. Rival or backstabber. Now that's interesting. We also got the rat card earlier. Look. Missing. We know she was reported missing. Maybe someone has an excuse about that. Greed. There's an element of greed with this case. Motive, monetary gain. Stalker. Government or military. Not quite sure how that ties in. We'll see. Heavy speculation. I don't know if we have room for one more row, but we'll try to fit one more row. Boat. Alone. Aiding and abetting. And one more. Swamp. Okay, let's talk about it. All right. So the first card we got is set up or stage. And we do also have a heavy speculation card here that could mean there is a chance that perhaps all this is a setup for him. I don't think so. I do think that the setup or stage card could be that it's set up or staged to look one way, like with her body, or like I wouldn't be surprised if with the autopsy it comes out that it may have looked or staged that she consumed something. And so somebody got fearful about that and wanted to cover that up. And so then it becomes a question of the cause of death. And really, is the perp really responsible for the reason why she died? Maybe they're responsible for not reporting her death or doing something with the corpse, but not necessarily the reason why she died. So just we'll pay attention to what that card could mean later down the line. We have local. This could be native or local to her, someone close to her, someone in her circle. It could be very local, like this whole situation. It just was crazy. Like the vehicle had been moved around to different parts of the neighborhood. Nosy neighbors noticed that this vehicle was moved around and abandoned. It's abandoned Tesla, so it probably stood out, and then it goes off to the impound. So a local impound lot sits there. So it'll be interesting to see, what this card means later down the line. It could mean like local witnesses, her circle is close, his circle perhaps, David, the register owner, alibi. I also get a sense that could come into question. Either at first it may seem like someone has an airtight alibi, but later on there's holes poked in the alibi. It could mean that the person does in fact have a solid alibi, and then police have to go back to the drawing board of how to prove that the perp is involved or was involved. There could be something about the alibi itself that is critical to the case, whether it is proven to be legit or there's an issue with the alibi. But some people don't have an alibi, some people do. It could be like 1 minute this person had a solid alibi, and the next minute some evidence blows out of the water and they don't have an alibi, something like that. So remember how I said like the cause of death might be something that at issue, and what I'm concerned about is because if her body was decomposing for a long period of time in a hot vehicle for over a month, that concerns me on will they be able to get the cause of death, because I just, in my spirit, I could see it coming down the line where someone is arguing in court or with the prosecution that you don't know how Celeste died, and it could have been an accidental overdose. It could have been she caused her death. She could have climbed in. That's ridiculous. We know she did not, but it's just, I'm concerned about that piece. Like, it won't be so hard to tie the issue of the corpse and what happened to the corpse, but the cause of death. Accident can also represent that the perp or perps or people in the know will be involved in some kind of accident in the future, or it could represent someone in their past, a perp, involved in an accident, and that could be a clue as to who this person is. So like maybe if we, dig around in their records, I'm not saying you do that, but I'm just saying, investigative journalism discovers that this person had an accident. Could be that. It could be somehow an accident is involved, or allegations of an accident. Rural or country, someone who lives now in a rural area, or maybe some key evidence is in a rural area, country area. Rival or backstabber, not quite sure how to take this one. This goes with the rat card. It could be someone perceived her as a rival or a backstabber, or someone was a rival or a backstabber to her and felt they needed to do something. I can see it being that something happened as it relates to, if she's been reported missing over a year, and like he's about to blow up. I'm talking about he being David. He's about to blow up on the world stage. He's got a world tour he's on. I could see how that, if it came out that she's 15, how damaging that could be to his brand. A missing 15-year-old. Like, it wouldn't take no time once, the media really starts following him around, and he had every bit of ambition to have paparazzi following him around. But with that comes, secrets coming out, such as he was involved with, and I'm not saying, we're not going to make the allegations, but we can infer here that he was involved with Celeste, and she was reported missing. She's a teenager. So, greed. So, not only is there a motive of aggression and pure rage, because we got that, it says rage or extreme anger was a motive. Another motive It's something to do with monetary gain. We saw that with the pentagram card. We see that here with the greed card. Sometimes greed can mean that if I can't have you, no one will. That kind of energy. Sure, it could be Celeste towards the perp, or it could be the perp towards Celeste with that. But it's also some element of monetary gain, or trying to preserve money, or trying to preserve, financial stability. As part of the monetary gain. We know that she doesn't have a job, I'd imagine. She's young and she's reported missing. Does she even, have an ID? Probably not. So it would be someone around her who's preserving their finances. We have stalker. Remember I was saying about the paparazzi? Like somebody was hot on the trail of about to find out about him, or maybe confronting him. Also, this could represent someone stalking her or stalking David, or, so stalker. It'll be interesting to see how the stalker card plays out, as is the government and military card. Not quite sure how this goes with the government and military. I find it interesting, and I think that law enforcement had to play this delicately, but I think people are going to have questions about law enforcement's decision to allow David, the registered owner of the Tesla, to continue with his tour. I can understand why they did, but for legal reasons and strategic reasons for the investigation. However, this might somehow have some kind of backlash later. We'll see how this card plays out. We know heavy speculation will be involved. It already is. Maybe this is what David was trying to avoid. Trying to play it cool, and now it's like he is going to need crisis, PR management, ASAP. But heavy speculation, and sometimes when this card comes up, speculation can mean, speculation on factual things that have occurred, and speculation on things that have not been proven. So we have to be very careful with this case, as with any case, but especially with this high-profile case, because there's already speculation. Oh, that she's, a sacrifice. Oh, maybe she's pregnant. So far, I haven't gotten any cards that represent that she is, but that doesn't mean she wasn't. I have a couple of other oracle decks. We'll see. I don't know if I have time to go through those today, and I don't want to do more than one video on this case right now. But, we just have to be careful about the heavy speculation. A mother and a family has lost a beautiful daughter, and yeah, you could say this reading is speculation, sure, but what we're doing is we're looking at the cards, we're comparing them to what's coming out, and we will be comparing the cards to what comes out in the future, right? So just being careful about heavy speculation. Boat. I don't know why when I saw this I was like, oh, I could see somebody on a speedboat speeding away. So a potential flight risk, or it could be earlier we got the water cards. There's some kind of element of water. Maybe I hate to even say it, other parts of her is in the body of water. Someone who owns a boat, or who was on a boat, who went out on a boat and took some key evidence, like maybe a weapon, perhaps, out to the middle of the ocean. This has happened in Los Angeles County, I believe. So, a lot of water out that way. Alone, aiding and abetting. Maybe a lone victim. I know that there was another woman, I think they said in that same impound lot, that was found in the trunk, and a partially burned vehicle, And law enforcement has seemed to indicate that those two cases aren't related, Celeste's case and that other case. So maybe this is also what this card is affirming, like these are standalone cases. They aren't, affiliated. They're not, I don't know why I can't think of the word. You know what I mean. They're not linked. Aiding and abetting, I do believe that maybe someone did not help with the crime itself, but they definitely aided and abetted. There could also be an accessory after the fact going on, but maybe there's a person that did help in some form or fashion, allegedly. Okay? And then we have swamp. Again, that water element. Also, this is symbolic of a murky emotional situation. So it's not just clear cut here. It's not, oh, I'm trying to control you and dominate you. There's an element of that. There's also an element of I need to cover this up because, this is going to affect my livelihood. There's also this sense of that there's just this emotional volatile situation going on. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. It really is. Okay, so now we're going to work with the Divine Crime Oracle. I'm shuffling sections. Very close. 0 to 15 kilometers. Rescued, help, retrieve, or saved. So someone needing help or getting help. Internet messaging or social media. Clues there. Okay. Secrets covered up, withholding information. September is of importance, of course. That's when she was found. I'm recording this reading as of the wee hours of Thursday morning, like around 1 o'clock in the morning, September 18th, 2025. September in the future can be of importance as well, like next September, or an arrest could be made in the month of September, or September is of significance. I do know that Celeste's birthday is September 7th. September can, I don't know when, well, maybe the perp's birthday or someone who's in the know or involved has a birth month of September, but we know for sure her birthday is in September. We have Northeast, okay, and it could be an arrest that's made in September. Wow, we keep getting a card like indicating betrayal, betrayal, betrayal. Someone feeling quite betrayed either by Celeste or Celeste feeling actually being betrayed. Long hair. Someone with long hair is in the know or involved, covering up, aiding and abetting, or an accessory after the fact. We have DV and physical abuse. Bridge. Opportunity, random, or impulse. Okay. northwest. I'm going to stop there. I'm not going to do a full spread with this one. Just I'm going to work with this deck. When Spirit, any additional guidance regarding Celeste or something that we need to be privy on about her death, her case. I think it's affirming some things. I just need two more, and then we'll be done with the shuffling of the cards. Wow. I'm sure there's going to be, I'm sure there's going to be people who come up or pick up on that she was expecting. I'm not picking up on that. That does not mean that's not the case, right? I just don't energetically pick up on it. Or if she is, it's just something that we may not be able to find out because I'm concerned about the state of decomposition. The reason I'm saying that is, again, we have something going on with the evidence. Evidence is listed here. You can barely see it, but it's written here, and then it says fire. So evidence being destroyed, happening in this case for sure. Evidence lost. Spoilage of evidence is happening. We have forest. Key evidence being taken away, moved out of the way, out of town. We know he was traveling, so maybe this is speaking to, a clue that he might be more in the know than he realizes. He is the person who was on tour. It could be that something happened while he was out of town. We have con man. So there's an element of fraud or element of someone who's conning us or conning law enforcement or who conned Celeste or is a con man, essentially. And then I will discuss these cards in a minute. Spirit is wanting me to discuss these ones first before I get back into those. We have missing. Another missing person card. Con man and missing person. I wonder what that means. Photos. There's a lot of photographic evidence that will also help give us clues as to the nature of the relationship of the perp and Celeste. Because I do feel like this is an intimate partner thing that happened. Clearly. Not because because again, David and her may be friends at this point, and she could be dating someone else, and he could have lent the vehicle out. But I get a sense that he knows a lot. He knows a lot, allegedly, about everything. Con man could be referring to him, allegedly, being able to lure this missing person, this missing child, this missing female child. Why did she? That would be one of my tarot reading questions. Why was she running away all the time? She ran away twice. Was she being lured? So we have photos. Photos can have date and time stamps. This card is concerning. The perp could attempt to do this in the future, or there could be allegations that Celeste could have been wanting to take her life. But I get a sense that it could represent someone who is involved in what happened to her, taking their life, or threatening to do that, or someone close to her. But this is sad. But in this case with her and how tragic this whole thing is, I'm not surprised that someone would be pushed to taking their own life. We have man. Looks like a man behind bars. Weapons. Weapons being hidden or out. And then we got swamp. Another swamp card. Look, here's a swamp card from my deck. And here's a swamp card from the trace evidence telling cards. I don't know. Some kind of swampy area might have the weapons or some key evidence. Something else being discarded related to her person. God, this is so sad. It's just devastating. Just absolutely devastating. My own daughter is 14 and I just cannot even imagine. I can't even. So my heart breaks for Celeste's loved ones. Her mom especially. All right, friends. Well, I'm going to wrap it up here. I got a lot of cards on the table. I'm going to take some pictures, separate these cards. Oh my gosh. I almost forgot. Oh my goodness, friends. I almost forgot to go over these cards. I think because I was reviewing them as we were going through, like as I was shuffling them, I didn't really feel the need to keep rehashing them, but I'm going to touch on them a bit because there's some important ones we need to go over. We have 0 to 15 kilometers. This card could be that the crime happened very close, if not at home, to her. Okay, it's the starting point. 0 would probably be where she rests her head at typically. Or, you know, I suppose 0 to 15 kilometers could be the circumference of, you know, the radius of how far the vehicle was traveling when it was being moved from this part of the neighborhood to that part of the neighborhood, but a very tight radius. Then we have rescued, help, retrieve, saved. Interesting. Someone helped the perp, the main perp. Okay. For the right price, they helped. For the right recognition, they helped. There will be evidence on the internet, messaging, internet searches. There could be messages, social media messages, and comments and pictures and posts. This will be of significance because I have a feeling this is going to be pretty high profile as this thing continues to develop. Because from what I understand, this young performer is up and coming with the young people. The young people were pretty crazy about him. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all unfolds. We have here secrets, cover up, and withholding information. So that for sure, clearly, is happening. But in order for, yes, one person can hold a secret, but this is showing a few people in this picture. So a few people are in this secret. They know about what happened. They are complicit in covering up the fact that she's underage, the fact that she was a runaway. They're complicit in helping to move the car here and there. So there is some aiding and abetting going on. Northeast and the direction of north is of significance. Not quite sure yet, but I'm sure we'll see how that unfolds, as is the north card. We have betrayal over opportunity, random, and impulse. I feel like this is two people. One is the main perp, betraying her or feeling betrayed by Celeste. This other person, the aiding and abetting one, sees an opportunity, acting on impulse to help out the main perp. Long hair, perhaps someone with long hair, longish hair, male or female, is in the know or involved. There will, later on, we may start to hear allegations of DV coming forth. Bridge over troubled water. I don't know why that title popped in my head when I saw it, but bridge over troubled water. Troubled water. I don't know. A bridge, maybe some evidence was dumped while someone was traveling on a boat just underneath or near a bridge. Or maybe the name of a street has bridge in it that is relevant to the situation, or somehow a bridge is relevant or will be relevant as it relates to maybe where something happened, or a picture was taken and it has a bridge in the background, a picture between the perp and the victim. Okay. All right, so now we are done, friends. We are done with this reading for now. I am going to wrap it up. We will see if a tarot reading is necessary. If you all think of questions for a future deep dive tarot and oracle reading involving Celeste's case, let me know in the comments section down below. What do you think about the cards that came up? What do you think happened, or the motive behind what happened? You know, what do you think about the register owner? And, you know, we want to be careful about making any allegations, of course. But we also, with the understanding that this is just our speculation and our opinion, we do that. And I'm saying that as a blanket for the comment section. But I just ask you to use caution and be respectful when you are leaving a comment. All right, friends, do me a favor on your way out. Please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And you can stay in the loop on when I drop another video. All right, friends, you all take good care of yourselves. I send my sincerest condolences to the loved ones of Celeste Rivas, and may justice come swift for her. May justice come swift and handles the person who did this accordingly. I hope karma it forces all of the wrath on this person who did this. All right, friends. Bye for now.